Hi, this is Mohammed Tuhami, and welcome to a new episode of the Chess Your Child show. And in this show, I invite world-class experts to show you how chess can be the ultimate character building tool for your child. And today, I am with a sort of a legend when it comes to teaching student chess. I'm with Jay Stallings. He's an international chess coach and founder of Coach J Chess Academy, one of the most popular apps on iOS and Android for teaching children chess. For over 2 decades, Coach J has been teaching chess to students from grades kindergarten to high school. And so far, it's 35,000 students. Wow.
Yeah, 35,000 and growing.
Wow, wow. Welcome. It's such an honor and pleasure to have you on the show today.
Mohammed, it's great to be here. Thanks so much. I'm really impressed with what you're doing too. So it's nice to get a chance to meet you and talk with you and your audience.
Thank you. Now let's start by your story. When did you start playing chess, and do you have like kind of a story about how it shaped your character as a kid?
I think so. Yeah, for sure. I started playing when I was 5. My dad taught me how to play. He was a Florida State champion back in 1963, and so he taught me how to play. And as a youngster, my older brother was better at me in everything. He was faster, stronger. He could just do everything better than me, it seemed. And so my dad taught me chess, and we would play, my dad and I, and my brother and I. My brother would beat me, and then one day I beat him. Wow. And all of a sudden I realized, wow, you don't have to be huge and strong and fast to be able to use your brain, use your mind in a powerful way. And with that, I took off, and my brother never beat me again. Soon thereafter, he put chess on the back burner and stuck with his other activities. But yeah, as I learned as a youngster, my dad trained me, and I got to be stronger and stronger, and pretty soon I was number 3 in the nation for my age in the United States. And so I would go to tournaments, and people would go and crowd around my games and watch me play, and it was fun to be like a little bit of a star. But in the end, I knew it didn't matter if I was a star or not. I just had to work hard at the chessboard. And I think I learned a lot of lessons about how much effort you need to put into things in order to succeed. And as a result, I think that's something that's helped me my whole life, to be a hard worker, to realize that you just have to plug away at something. You can't expect immediate results, and that you have to work and work and work. A single chess game is a microcosm of this. In a game, if we try to attack and win quickly, usually it actually prolongs the game and makes it even a longer struggle for us, a more difficult struggle, and sometimes a struggle that we lose. And if instead we slowly but surely build up our position, we build up our assets, the things about our position that are good, our pieces in strong squares, and our king safe, and things like this, then we actually will reach victory, or at least an opportunity to win a lot sooner than if we attack prematurely, if we go too soon. And so I think I learned a lot of these lessons growing up, gaining confidence in my ability to solve any problem that could come in front of me.
Yeah. Wow. And you mentioned your dad training you when you were a child. Who else had the most influence on your chess skills?
Well, the other people that had influence on my chess skills were players I never met, because they were the ones my dad introduced me to through books. Alekhine was a favorite when I was young, and then Mikhail Tal. I like the attacking players. Yeah. And of course, Bobby Fischer. Everybody followed Bobby Fischer. Yeah. When I was young, as after he decided to forfeit his crown, and went a little crazy, then he definitely was, not so much of a hero overall, but I still admired his chess play. You know, all the masterpieces that he had created. But growing up, my dad was my hero.
Yeah. So. When it comes to learning chess, there are two pathways. Number one, hiring a chess coach or working with a chess coach, and number two is diving in tons of books. So, do you recommend any of these paths, or do you recommend a certain mix or merge between both of them, especially for children?
I think most chess coaches agree. I think probably all chess coaches agree that you do need to have a mix. You need to have dedication on your own. You need to work hard to build a good repertoire of pattern recognition, being able to understand all these different patterns, and that comes through repetitive study of books. You're looking over the patterns. That's not something that you want to sit down and have a coach show you one position, and then the coach shows you another position and another. The main job of the chess coach is to review your games and be able to see, where it is. What are the things that you're doing in your game that are not as strong as they could be? Where are you going wrong? And also to help you build an opening repertoire that you're comfortable with. A coach knows the openings very well and can direct you in a path that will match your style of play. But for me, I grew up with my dad, but I also I laid in bed every night and studied tactics. Reinfeld's 1001 winning sacrifices or brilliant sacrifices and combinations. And then I studied his other book too, his Brilliant Checkmates, so much that my dad had those two books bound into one hardback book and gave it to me for Christmas one year. Wow. When I was a kid. So yeah, you definitely need to study your tactics and then have a coach. So the coach can very quickly show you a lot of different things, in-game patterns and openings. The reviewing the games and just seeing the style of your play, I think is an important thing. The flow of your game. Are you improving your position with every single move, or are you making cheap, easily stopped threats? And a coach can help direct you.
Mm-hmm. And when it comes to the benefits of chess, especially for children, you had your own benefits growing up that shaped your character in a certain way. But I think the latest scientific research is dated back in 2000. And you have, of course, more insights about the current and recent benefits of chess, especially with the changes in our world. The world is moving so fast, very dynamic, a lot of challenges. So, what are the current or the new benefits of chess that you have recognized in your students?
That's an excellent question, and things are definitely changing. One of the things that I see is time management.
This is new.
Yeah, they're playing with the clock. They're playing online. They're having to constantly watch their time. Not as many casual games without a clock. So they're learning that you have to be efficient. One tough reality of life is that sometimes you have to sacrifice a little bit of quality in order to get things done in a timely manner. And in a chess game, very often the clock is fun because for some kids they move too quickly. Most kids they move too quickly, and so they make very silly mistakes. Now on the other end, a small percentage of the kids, once they've really gotten into competition, they move too slowly, and because they're moving so slowly, then they end up losing their time, or they make a big mistake at the end as they start to run out of time, and they get panicked and they move very quickly. And so they have to learn to move more slowly in the beginning, and then as they start to appreciate the subtleties of the game of chess and all the different things there are to look at, then they have to realize there's sometimes when you take your time and there's sometimes when you need to speed it up. And I like to tell my students, if you have a project that's due at school Wednesday at 8 a.m., if it's not quite perfect and it's 7:59, you better turn it in, because at 8 a.m. then you just get a 0. So don't try to perfect it. And the same thing happens in the real world. You might have to file a motion to the courts if you're an attorney, and the motion needs to be filed by noon on Wednesday. And if it's 11:30 and you're still running spell check, then you're in a bit of trouble. So just get the motion in, and then worry about the details later on. And that's with chess, is that you have to really pay attention to the clock. That time management thing is important. Another thing, the young players are getting stronger and stronger. As I mentioned, when I was young, I was number 3 in the nation for my age when I was 11 years old. If I were 11 today with that same rating, I would be at number 60 or something like that. That's how much stronger the kids are today than they were back when I was playing. And so today the kids are learning dedication. They're seeing that the other kids around them are working hard to get to this higher level. And they realize in order to do that, it's not this natural talent. I can't just go in there and be brilliant at the chessboard. I have to bring more to it. Preparation, dedication. I go from, everything from studying the openings and the tactical patterns in the evenings, working with a coach during the days, whatever it is, and then at the chessboard, also an extreme focus and desire to do your very best. And I was talking to a student just last night who is a very talented, hardworking student, but when he gets to the chessboard, he's not great with his time management, and almost every game I see him moving quickly at the end because he's used too much time. And also, he gets up during his games and he'll walk around and he'll look at the other games, and I tell him, you need to sit at that board and dedicate that time to just doing your very best in that game. Win, lose, or draw, you want to walk away from that knowing you poured everything you had into the game. And I certainly have some students who just buckle down and work their very hardest, and that's definitely part of the equation. The kids are learning. If they want to do their very best, then that's something they need to do, and it builds their character in that way.
Yeah. In fact, I like that time management because it's the first time to hear this benefit of chess, because I always hear like memory, decision making, problem solving, but first time to notice this time management thing, which is great. And mentioning your this kid that you have described, do you have like a very, very special or a story that you cannot forget about a child who was like 0 and then turned into a hero because of playing chess with you?
Well, definitely, yeah. I've had several. I mean, obviously, over 20 plus years of teaching chess, I've had several of these stories. I remember a kindergartner who the parents would drop off for chess class to sit with his big brother, so that they could go have dinner. And the parents would go off to dinner, and the kindergartner sat there, and every week he might raise his hand, and I'd call on him, and I'd say, yes, Jordan, hoping that he would have the answer, and he would say, can I go to the bathroom? And I would say, yes, Jordan. And I told his parents, I don't think he's getting anything. I don't think he's learning anything from the class. And then they said, it's okay, it's okay. We'll let him stay in the class. He likes his big brother. I think they like going to dinner. And he one day raised his hand, and I said, yes, Jordan, you can go to the bathroom. And he says, no, I know the answer. And sure enough, he did. And it was the correct answer. And all of a sudden, he took off. And it was just kindergarten. But 3 months later, we went to the National Kindergarten Championships, and he finished in 15th place in all of the United States for kindergartners. And it's nice to see the kids go from 0 to actually a pretty high level like that. And the same stories over and over again, sometimes with kids that are young and sometimes with kids that are in high school, and all of a sudden they get the chess bug and everything seems to click at one time, maturity and their dedication, and then suddenly they take a huge leap, and everybody on the chess team is wow, you know, you're
Yeah. So this is in terms of rankings, but I was looking for in terms of character building. You know, having very low self-esteem, low self-confidence, lack of concentration, and then he is, you know, a hero on the character side.
oh yeah, for sure. I've had players. I remember a young boy who he was quiet all the time in class, John, and he didn't have that confidence. And one thing as a chess coach that I tell my employees that coach with the kids also is to look for that kid who doesn't seem to have the confidence, and then to throw me an easy question at some point that he'll have the confidence to answer that one question. Once he answers that question, then name the maneuver that he just did after him. So then suddenly you say, you know, John, what's the answer in this position? And he says, the queen to c8. And you say, ah, fantastic. And so then you set up another position and you say, all right, how can we do the John maneuver here? We want to get the same thing that John did. And you repeat his name and say, oh, thank you, John, you know, for the help. And with this particular young man, he really grabbed on after we treated him this way in the schools and started working harder. I think he had nothing else that he felt confidence in. No sports, school wasn't going particularly well for him, and he just gained and gained and gained in confidence. He did better in chess, and then I started getting the reports from the parents telling me about the teacher, saying great things. They say, I don't know how John's improving, but suddenly he's doing so much better in school. He's raising his hand. He's participating in class, and you know, that's as a teacher, there's nothing better than hearing that your children that you teach are taking the lessons that you've taught them and expanding beyond and using them out there in the real world. And to see John do that, now he's in college, something I think his parents may never have expected from him early on. He's in college and doing really well. I had lunch with him just 6 months ago, and he's got a beard and stuff and such, but you know, he's all grown up and he has that confidence. And it's nice because, you know, he says to me, thank you, you know, you made a big difference in my life. And so that makes me feel really great.
Yeah, awesome. And when it comes to tournaments, it's a very, you know, critical turn in a chess player's life, because now the kid is playing chess as a game, enjoying it, having fun, loving the game. How you know how dangerous it is to go in tournaments, and now I have to win and lose and fight, and you know I have to care about the rankings and the scores. Now the game, the beauty of the game, the magic of the game tends to lose its charm and effect. Maybe because I've seen the movie Searching for Bobby Fischer, and the kid was almost tortured because of the tournament. He was playing for fun, and now he's playing very seriously, and it's taking a very hard turn on him. So how do you see how to balance this issue from you know, playing chess and entering in the official pathways through tournaments and this stuff?
I think that tournaments certainly can be detrimental if they go in with the wrong attitude. Unfortunately, I feel that there's coaches out there that they put their kids in the tournament with the idea that they only are successful if they win. And obviously, that's not true at all. They're successful if they go in there and they give their best effort. They feel good about each game that they play, that they've done their best, and have confidence. But they also need to have a fun time. I show my students a lot of my games that I lose in tournaments, and I tell them, look at this game. I said, I sure was having a fun time in this game. Unfortunately, I didn't end up winning, but look at this. This is crazy. You know, he sacrificed his knight here. I sacrificed my bishop there. I've got to stop everything. I'm sitting there with a smile on my face, knowing that I'm about to go down in flames and lose, but I'm having such a great time. And I need, you know, to pass that on to my students. Otherwise, when they play their games, they're going to sit like in some of those scenes in Searching for Bobby Fischer, and feel stressed in an environment where they should be feeling happy. In the tournament I played in last weekend, I lost a game to a kid, 12 or 13 years old, that was my rating, a little bit higher than me. And it was my favorite game of the tournament. 6 games. And this game that I lost against him was my favorite game because it was exciting. It was a lot of calculations. And little by little, after I made a sacrifice, it gave me a small advantage. He worked his way back in. And I explained to my students, this is what it's all about. This was a great game. It was a ton of fun. And I didn't win, but I couldn't wipe the smile off my face for an hour after the game because it was such a great time. And if you're not sitting down at the chessboard and thinking, wow, this is fantastic fun, then you're not doing it right.
Yeah.
You need to change your approach to the game. And all the greatest players love the game of chess because if they didn't, they would burn out and have difficulties. And you have certainly seen that over the years. There are some players that they seem to have a great talent for the game, and then something happens and they're not there at the top, and it's because I think they have not the right approach. They're not enjoying themselves enough. Yeah. You need to enjoy yourself to really do your best.
Yeah, definitely. Why do you think chess deserves a place in schools?
Oh, I mean, the quick and easy answer is it's low budget, fantastic way to make the kids better thinkers. That's the quick and easy answer. And overall, I mean, it does so many things for the school. It gives the kids a sense of school pride if they're playing against other schools, and they not only cheer for themselves to win their games, but they're cheering for their teammates to win their games. They're cheering for their school to win their matches against the other schools. Everybody gets that school pride, and they're happy to be at that school, and they want to represent that school. They respect the administrators more because they're part of the school that they're representing, and so that's an important thing in the schools. But it simply makes the kids more logical, makes them think more. They understand the value of hard work and patience, and they know consequences. They see that if they're not careful and cautious, that things are going to go badly for them. So when we talk about having chess in the schools, it seems like such a no-brainer, and yet here in the United States we're having a difficult time because I think we've never had a champion who has all of the resources to be able to take us that level and get it into schools like you have in so many countries around the world. I envy those countries that have been able to do that.
Yeah, yeah. And is it really proven scientifically that chess improves exam scores and study in general, mathematics and reading skills?
It is, yeah. They've had test after test that have shown that kids who participate in chess on a regular basis will have improved scores in not only math but also in reading. And somebody summed it up nicely for me once as far as what his opinion was about why these kids that were involved in chess, why it was that they were doing so well. And he said it's because chess is fun. It's still work, it's calculating, it's logic, but it's fun. And so when they go home from school, they go home and play chess and have a great time, and they do it for hours. They don't do math for hours. So they go home and they do the chess for hours, and it helps them to be more focused, more determined, more patient in each subject that they now go back and do in school, in math, in reading. When they go in and do those subjects, then they're thinking more while they're doing it. In a chess game, you're always watching what's going on here, what's going on there. If I do this, what happens? If I do that, what happens? What's my opponent thinking? Every game of chess is thousands of decisions if you are doing it correctly, and making decisions is something that we need practice at, just like doing push-ups or throwing a baseball or are playing cricket or whatever it is, you need to practice it. And practicing making decisions is critically important in the development of our youth.
Yeah. Let's have a little chat with the parents. What's your advice for a parent who wants to connect their children to the world of chess? So, at what age? How to start? How to know if my child is interested in chess or not? Because I believe not every child will get some interest in the game. This may not be a game that suits them or their character. So, your advice to the parents: how to start?
To the parents out there, I say have fun with it. Ease your way into it. But if your child becomes passionate, as your child starts to really love the game, then give them every bit of your resources that you have available to help them pursue that passion. If they miss that opportunity later on in life, I guarantee you the parents will wish that they had not missed that opportunity, because there are so many different passions that our kids can have, and when they have a healthy passion like chess, they should jump on it. Chess is a game that requires a team. I think like you mentioned earlier, a teacher, a parent, the books, different things working together to make the child successful. And the parents should help as many ways as they can. For me, I see the parents working with the kids to go through each puzzle sometimes, to review their games, to sit down with the coach, all these different things. The parent needs to be there and support them. With my chess app, for example, it takes some reading in there. So the parents can sit with the child, read if the child's not old enough to read, and then the child can solve the puzzles.
So what's the ideal age to introduce a child to the chess game?
I think 5. My youngest son learned at 3, and it was fine. That was a good time, and I think a lot of that was because we didn't have a babysitter, and so I would take him with me to my classes. And when he was very young, he would sit on my hip while I taught, and so he watched from that very young age. And then when he was 3 and I was at schools, he sat in the front row and watched. And by the time he was 5, he was better than most 6th graders at every school where I taught. So it's definitely something you can do young, but he was doing it every day since it was my profession. Most people, they don't have the time to spend each and every day doing chess with their children. But at 5 years old, the kid is starting to learn how to learn. They're going to school for the first time, and that makes a big difference. Just this past couple of years, we started teaching in the schools the pre-kindergartners, the kids that were 4 years old. And that's difficult, because teaching them chess, you have words like diagonal and even corner. Sometimes they don't know what corner is. Straight, backwards. These kinds of things, the kids, they don't understand the meaning, and you have to really spend a lot of time with each one of those children. So I think 5 is a good age.
Yeah.
The kids have learned how to sit in the classroom, how to raise their hand. They've learned how to they've learned the vocabulary of the game. As far as the parent sitting with the kid, the parents can sit there as soon as they think that their child is ready. And some are ready at 3, and some aren't ready till they're 6.
Yeah. Some parents are influenced by some chess movies, and they are afraid to teach their kids this game because maybe it will turn them into introverts, very focused, not social, human beings, and they will just get so much dedicated to the game, and they will forget about everything else in life. And they will have big eyeglasses, and this mental image that some movies have reflected about chess. So, what's your take on that?
Well, I think the stereotype at some point must have been earned in some way or another. Back in the older days, I think that perhaps there were a lot of chess players who were bookworms and they liked to focus so much. Now with kids playing at all different levels, and there's many opportunities to be social, and the kids that are going to fit that stereotype, we're probably going to fit it anyway. The kids that are bookworms and would rather spend their time with a book or a computer, we're going to probably head in that direction whether they have chess or not. Chess, at this point, is just like anything else where the kids have so many social opportunities. As a matter of fact, I think more, because they're playing online chess with their friends and chatting now while they play. It's not just you're playing against your computer and nothing comes back. They're also playing in their chess clubs at school as part of a team. And boys and girls playing together. First graders playing with sixth graders. The young and the old playing together. And with that, the kids have many opportunities to be social. So those parents shouldn't concern themselves about chess. They should let their kid have as many opportunities as possible and choose the thing that they love in life.
Yeah. Let's talk at the end of the interview about your app. Why did you create an app? And because it's very unique, I've not seen anything like it on the app stores, whether on Android or iOS. So how did the idea come to your mind? How do you see the app improving a child's game and so on?
Well, I have to give kudos to my business partner in the app, who is Kyle. Kyle was my student when he was 11 years old. He's now 31, and so he was one of my very first students. But he taught for me. He was one of my employees when he was in high school, teaching chess. Then he went off to college, he got his MBA, worked for me sporadically, and he saw that I had all this material, and it was just sitting there. I would use it at the schools, but he said, everybody should see this material. There's so much. And originally he wanted me to do a book 5 years ago. And then a couple years ago he says, this is an app. All this together is an app. And so we need to put that in and turn it into an app. And so we just started working on the design, little by little, trying to make it go. And finally we jumped in head first and said, we're going to do this. And I looked out there on the app store, and so, sorry about that.
No, it's okay.
We saw with the app store that there were not apps out there for kids that were actually that strong of apps. Some of them were enticing to getting the kids to play a little bit. Some would have some fun with them, little explosions or things like that. But there needed to be one that was fun, easy instruction, and that's where mine fit in. Yeah. So many books and apps are either checkmate or tactics, or a little bit of both. Maybe a little bit of in-game. But in my app, in each of the 5 levels, it has checkmate, in-game, tactics, and then strategy and defense, and 2 things that you won't find in books and in apps for kids. And so that's where it became unique, and I think that's why it's one of the highest rated apps. Yeah. Chess apps for kids. I think the highest puzzle app.
I love it. Yes, definitely. Well, do you have a final quote that you would like to leave with us at the end of this interview? Kind of something inspiring, something encouraging for the parents to enroll their children or connect their children to the magical world of chess?
Well, I wish I had some brilliant thing that I could rattle off for you. But the main thing that I'd like to say to the parents is give your child this opportunity to see a world that will open many doors for them, not only out there in the physical world, but also here in their mind. Will open the doors of creativity of logic, of calculation, of enjoyment, socializing. Many people are meeting their spouses playing chess, and others are meeting their future employers playing chess. So open your child's world up to chess, and they'll thank you forever.
Thank you so much, Jay, for such a rich interview, and I hope to talk again soon. Thank you so much.
Mohammed, thank you very much. It's been my pleasure.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.